Welcome back. This is still the Premier League preview show. Welcome to the debate. Today, we've pitched camp at Old Trafford, and we are asking a very interesting question. We're asking if this Man United job is probably a bit too much for Erik ten Hag. Guys, is it a bit too much? He's had a lot to deal with in his time in charge. One season, one season and 5-6 games, I think.
Yeah,
too much drama. You think the job is too big?
What I think is United are, under the Glazers, we've seen them to become a very commercial club. They're focused on things off the pitch. The things that will bring them success on the pitch is not too much of a priority because they still get their money. And that's the problem for anyone that is will be at the helm, because the commercial obligations seem to be too many, and they seem to be too focused on that. And then for the footballing side, there's no real good culture at the club. Really, since Sir Alex left, no one's really come in and stamped in their own authority or style. When they are doing it, halfway through, they are let go. When they're doing it halfway through, there's a problem and they can't finish their project. So United they've been trying to change things since Alex and haven't really finished. Every manager, after two seasons, you're gone. And that's a bit of a problem. In terms of personnel, he's been given what he wants. He always asks for players and they give it to him. And maybe the problem is the kind of players he came to inherit. So if we notice, Ten Hag, he's trying to get players he knows he's comfortable with. And that might be good for him, but it's also bad, because then it shows that you're not trying to develop what you have already or work with what you have. And one thing I think he's doing well is he's being very ruthless in terms of the youth that are coming in. He's not wasting time. Okay, go away, get experience. If you're good enough, maybe we'll come back for you. That works, because then United have gotten into the habit of just stockpiling a lot of youngsters, and then you can't get new players coming through the academy. And I think he wants to look at that. He wants to see what he can bring from there. With Kobe Mainoo from preseason, you could tell he actually likes what he's seeing there. He wants that to be it's like a proper factory. However, his results haven't been impressive so far this season. Last season, I think it was a good season for him. He went all the way to semi-final in the. He went to the final of the FA Cup.
Yes.
Won
the League
Cup.
Lost in was it quarters
of
the
Europa
League? Yeah.
He was
qualified for the Champions
qualified for the Champions League. Even in the league, until that game at the Emirates, United were in the title.
You dare say it?
They were in the title. So you could tell they were in the race, and when they lost that, they lost their heads, and that was kind of the end of the season. I don't think it's big for him. I think he likes a challenge. It's just having the right personnel and the right culture at the club, and the culture isn't right for him. You can tell he's big on discipline, and anyone that you go wrong, he just puts you aside until you're ready to do what he requires of you. You don't have a look in, and until he gets the right people around him, United will not get where they have to be. And it's not, the job isn't too big for Ten Hag. It's just the people are not good enough around him.
Okay, Emmanuel.
I tend to think it's a bit much for him.
Okay.
I know.
A bit much. I mean, if you just look at last week, you think a coach of his caliber would not, especially knowing the English press and how they are. You don't come out. Yeah, they ask you, what's up with Jadon Sancho? We could have given a democratically correct answer and not make it into a whole thing where he has to respond with a tweet and it was pinned on his X for I think a week or so. So I think when it comes to the PR response to he's been a bit too much. Okay, this is my way. This is how I'm going to say it. Not doing anybody any favors. On that part, I feel like he could have been a bit more diplomatic with his answers when it comes to those things. But with the football, also, I would have expected a bit more from him.
Okay.
I mean, as Yao said, he's gotten what he wants.
What seems to be the problem with the football?
For United, I think the problem has been recruitment over the past 4 or 5 years. It's not been done right.
10 years.
And
so they're buying the wrong type of players.
And I think it even dovetails into what Yao was saying. What is the culture you're setting? Because a coach comes in, he buys players to fit his model. You can even go as far back as Moyes.
Yeah.
He comes in, there's Schweinsteiger and Alcantara and Cruz says, no, I want Fellaini.
Yep.
Pays big money, brings in his players. He's taken off. I think Van Gaal comes in,
Yeah.
also has his own way he wants to play,
Brings in
crossing,
Dutch players.
merchants and all those kind of things. I think there was this game United had about 25 crosses or
Against
so,
Fulham.
and
Yes.
they didn't even score. So
That was under Moyes. I
That was
remember.
under Moyes.
that was yes.
Yeah.
So there's too much chopping and changing, and for a club like United, you wouldn't expect that. You'd expect that from the top to the bottom, structure would work. They'll do the right things. Like, there'll be a world-class organization wholesale-wise, and that hasn't happened.
Okay.
But then I would also say that you knew what you were walking into. Unless, of course, they promised you something, and when you get there and you're asking for it, they are not giving it to you. But if it comes to transfer, I think he's gotten anybody he wants. He's got a, what's his name? Anthony. It's around for
Yeah,
100 million.
his favorite player.
And I feel like maybe he has to humble himself a bit. You brought in someone for 100 million, he's not performing. And it looks, and maybe that's why Jadon Sancho would think he's a scapegoat, because if you even, I think on the podcast, Susu did some
Yeah, he
good
was just,
analysis.
you know, the
If you
numbers.
If you
Yeah.
you said Jadon Sancho hasn't performed well, but I mean, you didn't bring him in to defend to start with. And with the little minutes you've given him, he's doing similar numbers or even better than him. So maybe he's not giving everybody a chance. You look at the treatment of Maguire. Maguire is now fifth, sixth choice. I mean, if I was Maguire and you brought in Johnny Evans, I'll feel so insulted. Johnny Evans is, he's what? He's 37
35.
Yeah.
35.
or so?
It's 35.
He's 35.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
35.
same number as his jersey.
So I feel like with that, he hasn't handled player management, man. I don't think he has done a good job there. The PR side too, I don't think he's been. I mean, Ole was very, very diplomatic when it comes to
Ole
answering
said
questions.
the
I mean, he
nicest
was the
things
darling
about
boy of the
players.
press. Like, he give you what you want, and it doesn't create an uproar or anything. But for Ten Hag, I think if the results don't start talking for him, seeing that he's seeing himself as a disciplinarian and okay, it's my way or
Okay.
you take the high road. If he doesn't start getting results,
Okay. Let me ask you this: how much time do you think Erik Ten Hag has?
He has till December, I think.
Till December.
I think so, because you would have faced everybody, and we want to see progress in terms of how you're playing on the field. Forget about off the field stuff, the discipline stuff. They're all parts of being a manager, but what speaks for you are your results. So if you can get the right results, be in the top 4, top 5 by December, I think it buys them some time till at least the end of the season.
I see.
But if Carabao Cup, he gets knocked out early, in the Champions League, he's not performing, I think by December, United
Wow.
will want to probably just part ways with
Okay.
him.
Emmanuel, how much time?
I would say he has till the end of the season.
Okay.
I mean, until realistically he can't make top 4, because for the Champions League, it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
going to
problem.
be very difficult, and you don't want to put in a cup run in there to kind of cushion you.
Yeah.
Judging by how the league is going to go, you also don't know what injuries will bring.
Yeah.
You don't. There's so much uncertainty about the team. You don't know if Anthony will be back or not. Like there's so much uncertainty. So for me, I think he has till the end of the season.
Okay.
But then you'd ask yourself, if they let Ten Hag go, who are they bringing in?
I remember I was asking that of
That's
I've been
maybe
thinking,
United can tempt Roberto De Zerbi, but I don't think
I don't
he'll
think he'll
Brighton.
leave Brighton. The structures there work for him.
They make too much sense.
And then maybe United will be like, okay, we're going to go the United way, and
Bring back.
Michael Carrick. Honestly,
But he's struggling at middle.
no, he's struggling now. Last season he had a
Yeah.
good
Yeah, that
run,
season really
but
worked for him.
now he's learning that the championship is not easy.
It's no joke.
So himself and maybe Ryan Giggs will come together and return to United.
I mean, final question as we wrap up the debate. Is there, there are those who believe that it's teething problems, painful parts of growth. Teams will suffer before they get better. Do you think eventually everything will come together at Manchester United, and then whatever it is Ten Hag is preaching will start to be a bit more visible, players will function, it will start to make sense?
I'm thinking there are 3 things United need to do. Sort out ownership. There's a bit of uncertainty there. Second thing will be looking at the football structures. You've got a director of football that we know he's got something about him, but has he got clout across Europe? Maybe he's good in England and Scotland, but has he got that all across Europe? And the third thing is United haven't been good on the pitch. So Ten Hag really needs to get results. He needs results more than
Okay,
anything.
so what's more important, performance or results?
I think results.
Results will get you the confidence you need to put out the performances. Because United, at the beginning of preseason, they were feeling like, okay, yeah, we've got something about us. But then you realize that they're playing Bilbao, you're playing Sevilla, and you're struggling. And then you come into the season, and then you realize that, okay, we're actually not as good as we think we are. So those performances will come later, but only if you can get the results.
Imano, do you agree? For now, results.
I think for now, results. And it's one of the things I mentioned, I think, 2 weeks ago, that you don't know what United are. It's the hybrid of the possession and counter is what is creating the problem. And I think recruitment is the key thing. Yeah, you have money to spend. Commercially, you are the apple of everybody's eye. But if you're not buying the right players, the players make the system.
Okay.
And if you buy, you can't fit square pegs in round holes. If you buy the wrong players and they don't fit the system, it comes back to bite you. So, yeah, you need to get results in. Then you are a settled top 4 team. You are making it to Champions League quarterfinals. You are nicking in the Carabao and FA Cup. Then now, within that time, you can get hold of the dead wood, get rid of the players you don't have that rapport with, and then now you can try to play your own game.
Wow, it looks like it's a long journey for Manchester United. It's a bit of a journey for them as they try to rebuild their team under Erik Ten Hag. Like I always say, look, the debate can continue wherever you are, whether you think this job is a bit too much for Erik Ten Hag or he's the right man, he needs a little time, and over time, things will come together.